Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Estoy estudiando español.
I'm learning Spanish. I'm going to try and speak Spanish here. I want to thank, firstly, God for everything He's done for me and my family, my family and who have fought with me, and thank you for everything you've done for me. Thanks to all the fans. I hope to give a lot of happiness to you. Thank you so much. Hala Madrid. So Rodrigo with a few words there in Spanish. I'm sure we'll hear him speaking fluent Spanish pretty soon. Obviously a native Portuguese speaker. It's relatively easy. Will help as well with his transition here to a different country, obviously a different country, different continent, but the fact that he can more or less communicate with people is and there we see Rodrigo and President Florentino Perez on what is a huge day for this young man and his family. We know there are high hopes for this teenager, and he is still a teenager. There is still a long, long way to go, and we have to be patient, but at the same time we're allowed to get excited because what we've seen and what he's done already at Santos and allow us to get excited and to dream that he could be a big prospect for Real Madrid. Let's see how he develops. Of course, he's got the example of Vinicius, who joined last summer at the same age, 18, and went on to enjoy an excellent first season here in the Spanish capital before he picked up an injury which just stopped him in his tracks a little bit, but nevertheless very impressive from Vinicius in his first season. Let's see if we have similarly Rodrigo. We hope so, although as we said, let's take it bit by bit, game by game. He is still extremely young. He will need support and a bit of patience as well. He's going to need a bit of time to adapt to a different style of first time as a Real Madrid player, seeing those fans who have turned up here today to welcome him to his new home. It is always so impressive going out to the Santiago Bernabeu. It's such an incredible stadium, but stepping out onto that pitch for a first time, it must be something pretty special for Rodrigo. Of course, we've had a few presentations already this summer. Luka Jovic, Eden Hazard as well. Now Rodrigo, the latest player to be presented here, and there are high hopes for Rodrigo. As we said, he is still a teenager. He will be the youngest member of the first team squad, if indeed he is part of the first team squad. We'll have to wait and see. You remember Vinicius last season, he was played quite a few games with Castilla at the start of the season, as he just found his feet in Spain. That transition from Brazilian to Spanish football, not easy. And of course, for teenagers, don't have as much footballing experience as other players. Obviously an incredible amount of talent which ultimately shone through with Vinicius, but he didn't have much experience, although he, like Rodrigo, had played for the biggest clubs in Brazil. Santos, a legendary club, of course, the club of Pelé. Not as big a club as Flamengo or perhaps Corinthians, but still a huge footballing institution. And now he's joined the biggest footballing institution of them all, Real Madrid. And we can't wait to see what he can do. But it is worth stressing, he will require a little bit of patience. And let's see whether or not that bears fruit this season. At the start of this season, midway through the season, at the end of the season, how many minutes he gets. It is all about a bit of a waiting game, really, because yes, he is incredibly talented. We've seen him play for Santos, seen the videos of his skills, of his goals, of his assists. You saw him play in the Under-20 World Cup this year with Brazil. Lots and lots of things to get excited about, but it requires a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, an incredible amount of focus here as well. You've come to the biggest club in the world, and as the president Florentino Perez said, it is the biggest club in the world. These fans will give you everything, but we demand and we expect plenty of hard work and commitment in return, and I'm sure Rodriguo will realise he has got the chance of a lifetime here. This is the biggest chance he will ever get in his career to join the biggest club in the world. So it's all about making that happen. And we have had plenty of young signings here at Real Madrid over the last few seasons. Teenager Vinicius last season, Brahim Diaz as well, teenager when he joined the club. Andrei Lunin, of course, the young Ukrainian goalkeeper who was recently crowned Under-20 world champion with Ukraine. Now Rodriguo comes the latest young signing for Real Madrid. Takes the there we go, the almost obligatory selfie. I'm sure he's very happy to do so as well. Kissing that badge. And there were pictures you might have seen on social media of Rodriguo wearing a Real Madrid shirt as a small boy, aged around 8 or 9. It really has been a dream for him to join this club, as it is for so many youngsters and young footballers all over the world. Real Madrid remains the pinnacle of achievement. When you've joined here, you know you've done something very right so far in your career. But it can't stop, the hard work can't stop now that you've joined Real Madrid. It's not like, well, I'm here now, I've done it, I've made it. No, you've joined the most successful, the biggest and the best club in the world, but also the most demanding as well. The demands, the expectations are high here, and to continue to reach those heights, you have to work hard. There's no other way forward. So I'm sure Rodriguo will know that, obviously. The likes of Roberto Carlos, who is a club ambassador, I'm sure he'll have a word with him. Vinicius, I'm sure, will have spoken to him as well, because Vinicius himself isn't the most experienced, but he has gone through pretty much exactly the same experience that Rodriguo is going through right now, so he can give him a few words of how to deal with the first few days, weeks and months in Madrid, and how to go about the adaptation. We mentioned before the language shouldn't be a problem, and we heard him speak upstairs in very good Spanish, it has to be said. He said, I am learning Spanish and I'm going to try and speak in Spanish, and he did so very well indeed. That was quite impressive. That bodes well for the future also. But as we said, it's not too difficult for Portuguese speakers to pick up the language, and that should help. That really should help with the adaptation for Rodriguo. And if he feels comfortable, happy, that will help also with his footballing development. And this still is a player who's got a lot to develop, a lot to learn. I think he would admit that, he would say that. You still have a lot to learn about everything, age 18, not just